Okay, hello, and thanks for joining this webinar today. Webinar is on the benefits of cloud-based collaboration. My name is Mark Phelps. I'm the Collaboration Product Manager here at Node4, and I'd like to go through a few things with you this morning. Here's a brief agenda. So firstly, we'll look at some of the challenges we see in the market around our collaboration tools and the way in which we work. Also look at how we make collaboration work for you as an organization, or how you can make collaboration work in your organization. And then we'll go into the benefits of taking collaboration workloads into the cloud, and then what you should look for when you choose a partner to work with as you move your workloads into the cloud. So first of all, I think it's key to say that the way in which people work has changed. If you think about how you used to work even 5 years ago, but certainly 10 years ago, and in the past, things have changed dramatically to how we work today. So in the past, we did a lot more individual work, and today we're looking more at independent working environments, how we work together in groups. And we were also in the past pretty much members of fixed long-term teams. I knew who I was working with. I went together. We were in a team that we worked with for a long period of time. But now we've moved to more agile and flexible teams. So pretty much on a weekly basis, I could be working with somebody else and with somebody in different teams. And we come together to work on task-based outcomes rather than long-term goals for a team. It's about doing things towards the business environment or business outcomes rather than just my team outcome. We also used to work very much in the office. You know, we were very fixed. It was a 9 to 5 environment where we went into the office, into the same office, worked with our same team, and then went home at the end of the day. And that's really not how we work anymore. We team from anywhere. We're a much more mobile workforce, where the days of the cubicles are long gone, the 9 to 5 environment is long gone, and people want flexibility in how they work. And today, work is something that I do, not a place that I go to. And also, we used to work mostly with employees within our own company. And now we've moved to an environment where it's much more open, and we work with, yes, we still work with the same employees, but we work with partners, ecosystems, and customers jointly on outcomes. Sometimes we'll even work with our competitors jointly for a joint outcome with our customers or for our customers. But certainly working just for the outcome of my own company is a thing of the past. And over the years, the tools that we have deployed or have been available to us for our collaborative environment has changed dramatically and grown dramatically. It used to be an environment where IT would provide a small number of tools for you to do your daily job. And that collaborative environment that you had from the workplace was generally better than the collaborative tools that you had at home, or the IT tools that you had at home. And that's really been flipped on its head now. There's so much choice with the rising of mobile-based applications on your iPad, on your mobile phone, but generally cloud-based applications now for collaborative tools. The landscape for these applications has become very, very complicated, fragmented, and actually there's too much choice now. And IT departments can't cope with this amount of choice that we've got. We've got conferencing tools that are built into many of today's applications. We've got things like WebEx, we've got things like Skype for Business audio conferencing, or we've got the traditional audio conferencing tools that we've had from BT conferencing for a long time. But content sharing and document sharing has now moved massively into the cloud. It's quick and it's easy, whereas before we would have to create a room or send an email with an attachment which was generally too big for the recipient. Now it's just very easy for us to use things like Dropbox and Box or OneDrive and just drag and drop our files, and they're available for other people to share. Instant messaging and chat again has grown massively. We've got lots and lots of tools, Generally, these are all backdoor tools into our IT environment as well, where people will choose WhatsApp rather than using their Jabber client or their Skype for Business client. And equally, web and video conferencing has now become mainstream for everybody. But the choice is massive, and trying to control your employees and try to get them to use a fixed set of tools is very, very difficult, because the expectations in the way in which we've changed our work environment, the expectation is that I will have choice. This particular tool works better for me, so therefore I want to use it. And that isn't always the best thing for business. But there are kind of reasons why that is the case, that people choose to use and pick their own, bring your own application rather than just bring your own device. And what we're seeing is that pretty much the average user in a company now is a rogue user. And the reasons for that are that nearly 70% of employees get little or no training on their collaboration tools. So they don't know how to use the tools that are being provided for them by IT. And over 70% of people use half or fewer of the features of the tools that are available. And that again is linked back to training. But scarily, when we looked at some research, on average, a company will have something around 37 IT or collaboration applications that are in use across their estate. But of that 37 tools, 86% of them will not be approved by IT. They're rogue users. So under education, plus maybe a resistance to change, I've always used this tool, or in my last company, I've used this tool. And shadow IT is leading to a lagging adoption of your IT tools in your company that is pinning back the digitization efforts and the transformational efforts that you're trying to enable by this new set of tools. So actually the choice of collaborative tools is actually hindering the adoption of those collaborative tools in a controlled way. So we need to create an environment that, yes, enables us to work in this new way, but also gives back control to IT so that we can do it in a secure and managed way. So if we look at how we can actually encourage the users to adopt these new technologies, we have to create a sufficient set of tools that will allow the employees to work in the way they want, but also educate them in terms of how to get the most out of these tools. So first and foremost is that we need to enhance the employee engagement. This will reap benefits in the returns that you will get from your investment in IT tools and collaboration tools. First and foremost, we need to support teleworkers and remote branch officers. We need to give that flexibility that work is something I do, not necessarily a place I go to. So we need to have that mobility. But we then need to enhance the employees' understanding of how to get the most out of these tools and how to work in an environment, in a hierarchical structure which is geographically dispersed. So a management structure which is geographically dispersed. And the same thing goes for our managers as to how we can get them to manage remote workers as well. So we need a lot of online events and training, make sure they know how to use the tools. Incorporate video into the meetings. This is very, very key so that our remote workers don't feel left out, don't feel isolated. There's a much better human interaction when you incorporate video into your remote meetings. But first and foremost, we need to focus on that user experience. If it's difficult, if the technology and the collaborative tools are difficult for the end users to adopt or use, then they're just not going to use them. They're going to find a ways around with tools that suit them. So you need to build an environment that's simple to use, the users are trained in, and they get that interaction that makes them feel like they're part of the team. We also need to start to look to promote innovation and growth, both within your company, but also outside with external organizations. So you need to extend telephony with video, but make sure it's open standards based, that you can actually start collaborating with external organizations and your customers in a more interactive manner that will reduce your need to travel, for example. We also need to collaborate from within your business applications, and make it very, very easy for your workers to look at the tools that they use on a daily basis and then engage in a collaborative environment. So we can enable click to call, for example. So if I'm sat in my CRM system, rather than having to go out and then physically make a phone call, I can just click to call from my Jabber client or my IAM and Presence client and talk to that user, that end user or that customer, or somebody else within my organization, but make it simple from within that business application in the best format possible. So if you can enable video directly to your customers, do that, but do it also accessible from business applications rather than just collaboration tools. You should also look to improve the productivity of your users and remote workers in particular. So have those meetings and have hybrid type meetings. Yes, it's great to get people into an office, but it's not always practical to get everybody into that office. So have meetings, but enable remote people to come into it, and have best practices about how you engage in those meetings. So if you're using WebEx, for example, make sure that it's presented up. You're using video in those meetings. You mute people when they're not talking, or they mute themselves. And things like, if you're in a meeting room and you're on a desk and you've got a microphone in front of you, don't start rattling a crisp packet or a sweet packet like you would normally do in a meeting. Just think about the remote participants as well and incorporate them into the meeting. Again, do it with video. Video makes it a much more engaging environment. And then when you're looking generally to improve productivity, absolutely think about mobile workers and have a system that will allow people to work from where they are. Reduce travel time. It makes you much more productive as an organization. And offer a choice. So I've talked about the choice in applications, and we do want to maybe limit that or choose IT-driven tools that you can control in some way, but still allow choice of device. Allow your users to consume your collaboration applications in a format that works for them. Generally, that's a bring your own device rather than bring your own application environment. And create team workspaces. Team workspaces are virtual project or product rooms now, project rooms, where I can come together, work in these agile teams, work collaborative together, and then move away. But it's a much, much better environment than traditionally we would have with email. Email is a killer of productivity. You can sit monitoring email, you get disjointed threads of conversations where some people are included in part of the conversation, some people are not. Use new ways of working. There are a lot of new team workspaces that are around persistent messaging and meeting and file sharing applications. So it's almost like having a virtual team room where I can come in, I can see all the files that everybody's working on. I've got a whiteboard with all the conversation in there in this physical room, and I can sit around a table and talk to other people in that project team. We're just creating a virtual team that has all of those attributes. You can see the files, you can talk to people in real time with video, and you've got a persistent record, a meeting minutes record of everything that's happened within that project room. This is a much more productive way of working. And lastly, to get the most out of the collaborative tools that you've got is start to reduce your costs, your overall costs within the business. If you've got the right collaborative environment and you've got the flexibility for remote workers to come into the office on an ad hoc basis rather than a permanent basis and work from where they are, either in remote offices or at home, you can start to look at your real estate and think about different ways of either reducing that real estate footprint or in fact using that space in a much more productive way. So rather than having lots and lots of desk space, even if it's hot desk space, then take away some of that desk space and either reduce down, but create more collaborative workspaces. So open collaboration environments, more video meeting rooms, more meeting rooms that you can get together physically or virtually in, and enable all of those with video so that you can bring in the remote workers and your customers and your partners into those meetings. But also start to consolidate your communications infrastructure down. Start looking at that myriad of applications you've got and start looking at how you're actually delivering those collaboration tools. We still see a lot of customers that have got old TDM infrastructure, they've got a separate data infrastructure, they've got a separate video infrastructure. You can consolidate all of that down with the right tools and the right applications and choosing the right vendor. And if we look at now that complex environment, how we enable all of those 4 areas of improving your collaborative environment, to me, the only way you can sensibly do that, or the best way to sensibly do that, is through taking your collaboration tools and hosting them in the cloud. And there are many benefits of doing that. First and foremost, there are some financial benefits. You can move from a CapEx investment to an OpEx model. That means that you pay per user per month for the functionality that you get. It gives you cost predictability, and it also stops those large project-based investments that you have to find funds for and CapEx and go cap in hand to the board to get some funding for a very large project that in the past has not always delivered the returns that have been promised on there, mainly because the adoption hasn't been right. So overall, you should get a lower total cost of ownership if you look at a cloud delivery model. As a service provider, this is what we do daily. We've got people, we've invested in people, and we do it on a scale that allows us to provide that lower total cost of ownership. And ultimately, you can start to dismantle elements of your data center delivery. If you're consuming this technology from the cloud, then we're using the service providers' investment in space, investment in energy, investment in the security of that data center. So we can start to reduce our green credential or improve our green credentials by reducing our energy output from our own data centers. There is also some strategic benefits in moving to the cloud. It will allow you to focus on the business strategy, but it will also allow you to use your skilled IT people to improve the adoption of the technology and the control of the technology, educate users, map your collaborative use to your business priorities and outcomes, rather than focusing your IT staff on keeping the lights on and managing those applications. Let the service provider take that weight for you to focus on the strategy. And as a service provider, you can tie in strict SLAs, and we can do a lot of that risk management for you as well. We've invested as a service provider in a very highly resilient architecture. So we'll mitigate some of the risks that you may have in your organization by not having the investment or keeping up to date on the technology. And that's another point, is that as a cloud delivered service, you can ensure that you've got an evergreen service, so you don't have to go through rounds of updates of that technology, costly rounds of updates. It's up to the service provider to provide you with an evergreen solution. It allows you to focus on the adoption rather on the day-to-day management. Also, as a cloud-based service, there's more flexibility. You should be quicker to market with new features and new functionality because the service provider has got teams of people that are actually looking at developing that product. And it's again part of our commitment to the end customers to provide you with the latest feature set. And you can start to deploy them quicker and more controlled. you'll get more features as well because you don't have to make that investment. We, as a service provider, make the investment that is then available to all of our customers, so we can start to recoup those features at a better price point. And we have ultimate scalability. As a service provider, then you can scale, as an end customer, you can scale up or scale down as your business changes, and do that quickly and instantly without, again, having to think about a CapEx investment to do that, or a capital write-off. So again, depending on the type of relationship and the type of contract you've got, you should be able to flex up and flex down within your contract. And obviously that time to market those feature sets will enable you to focus on that bring your own device. From a business perspective, then it's about SLAs. It's about meaningful SLAs that you can then start to guarantee your delivery to your end customers or to your workforce. But you can do that with controls as well. It doesn't mean that you have to relinquish control. There is a central management with a cloud-based delivery, but we can have role-based access control, and we can have layers of self-service, we can have layers of self-administration within controls there. So you can start to administer your own users locally if you want to. Okay? Full control and flexibility over that. And of course, we'll provide deeper analytics and reports on how you're using the technology. Overall, you can start to look at those 4 areas of cost reduction or return on the investment. Reduce your travel costs and your real estate costs. Attract and retain talent. It's difficult to put a capital or monetary figure against that, but if you want to attract and retain talent, then there is an expectation that they will have the best of breed, the features and functionality, and be able to work in the way that they want to from your new workforce. And extend your collaboration to anyone, anywhere, on any device. That's what you should expect out of the benefits of a cloud delivery. And to do that, you need to choose the right set of applications. And to me, the collaboration applications are delivered from the cloud, from our perspective, the Node4 solution. Then we have our own UK data centers, and that is important as we start to move into this world of stricter controls over information with GDPR. And indeed for our financial customers, the MiFID II requirements for recording and data collection and storage. So we need to have UK data centers. They need to be secure, they need to be resilient, geographically dispersed, and very resilient, with a service and operational overlay on top of that, which is guaranteed as much as possible. Certainly needs to be ISO 27001 certified. And within that environment, that data center environment, you need the right collaboration applications. Voice and video. Video should not be a tariff on top of voice. As far as we're concerned, voice and video are the same. If I've got a video device and I call my colleague, then I expect video to pop up if they're on a video device too, without having to go into a meeting room and think about it. I just call them and I get the best experience. IM and presence is a given these days. Tools like Cisco Jabber, tools like Skype for Business are a prerequisite for productive working. I can see the status of the person I want to talk to. If, for example, they've got Do Not Disturb on there, it's pointless me trying to call them, so I won't waste time. I'll move on to the next person, or contact a person that is available that may be able to give me the same answer. Mobility as well is very key and very important. We need to be able to collaborate on the device of my choice, wherever I am at any time. Voicemail and messaging, and integrated unified messaging, where I've got a single voicemail box. And then we need to think about our customer experience as well. So we need to think about the contact center. All of this needs to be tied together in a single format. Meetings experiences also need to be tied into this. So I need to have voice, video, and web conferencing available, again, without having to make a particular choice about it. It's one interface, it just works. right up to potentially having immersive video, where I've really got a high definition, very high quality interactive video environment. All of these are key collaboration applications. And if you look at how Node4 delivers a suite of applications like that, then it's very much along those lines of the workplace experience is about the core unified communications and collaboration applications, the core tools, the voice, the video, I am and presence, voicemail. We wrap that in an operational manner inside of our own data centers with a guaranteed service level. And it's very, very resilient and virtualized and scalable as a platform, so it can move to meet your needs. We also have our own SIP-link service, because it's great having these applications, but you also need to connect to the outside world and do that in a way that suits you as an organization with control. We have our customer experiences, from instant customer contact, where we can run up or spin up a call control or call direction in the cloud, pre-call routing, so that for things like clearing, for example, in the education sector, where we need to have a very quick and scalable contact center spun up in minutes to cope with flash calls, then we can do that very, very quickly, right through to the omni-channel contact center of today. And an omni-channel contact center is it's a contact center where I can take my calls in whatever format they come in, whether it's web, whether it's video, whether it's voice, or it's chat. So any way the customer wants to contact me, I can push that into my contact center queues. And of course, if you're having those customer interactions, it's very key that you have some call recording and compliance features in there. And then on the meeting side, we have things like Cisco WebEx, which is our web, video and audio conferencing in a single pane of glass. And then we also have the next generation of meeting and messaging applications, these virtual workspaces. And all of these are tied together through our own integration across all of these technologies, but also through our SIP-link and our professional services that manage them. But it's also key that when we look at choosing the right service provider, that they have not just a solution that is collaboration based, but they have a portfolio of solutions that are complementary, that allow you to consume your cloud services and control your cloud services in a one-stop shop, but in a way that suits you as a business as well. So we should have some cloud services where we offer infrastructure as a service, or backup and DR as a service, storage as a service. You may also want to host some of your own infrastructure or your own applications within a controlled data center. So co-location services are very, very key. And of course, connectivity. If you're going to deliver applications and collaboration services from the cloud, you need to be able to guarantee that delivery down to the end customer. So it's key that your service provider has their own MPLS network, which is scalable and controllable with quality of service right down to the end user, to your delivery. The collaboration tools we've gone through, but also it is very, very key that all of this environment is secured. So you need to have some sort of continuity services, expertise in how to design and operate in a secure environment, endpoint management, security as a service, managed firewalls, and it's key that that is all tied together with a security operations center. So when you're looking to move your workloads to a cloud, these are the sort of things that we should look for in your service provider. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and the contact details for any more information are on the slide ahead, and we'll send you out a copy of these slides in your email. Thanks for attending. Bye.